All right. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakah, double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. We out here once again.
Did you see our video pop up?
Yeah. Yeah, it came. We out here once again to let the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans know that you are God's chosen people. We're the Israelites according to the Holy Bible. We come out week in and week out to prophesy this downfall of this wicked kingdom known as America, which is Babylon the Great according to the Holy Bible. It's ruled and ran by the so-called white man Esau Edom, which is the devil that the Bible speaks of. We out here to proclaim the return of our Lord and Savior, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His true ancient biblical name is Yahweh Shai. He is a dark-skinned man with woolly hair, and he's coming back to bring salvation unto the elect of the nation of Israel, and he's coming back to bring judgment to the rest of the earth, including 2/3 of our people who refuse to return and repent to the Heavenly Father.
That's right.
And as you can see today, you got this wicked holiday, Halloween, which you got a lot of people gonna be celebrating. A lot of Israelites gonna be celebrating, gonna be doing whatever, going to the parties, getting that spirit, trying to get ready for the next holiday season to come up. You know, as our people, they love the end of the year because it's just nothing but that whole holiday festive spirit. But the Lord is literally finna take that out of the earth. And for all, because I went to the Target off of 55 today. As I was leaving, I seen Jake look like he was in his 20s, walking into the store with a damn Spider-Man suit on. You know, had the whole Spider-Man costume on. Yeah, you got a lot of grown-ass people dressing up in these damn costumes. You know, celebrating Halloween, don't even know where to go back to.
That's right.
And then the ultimate thing about it is it's the worship of the dead. You know, worshiping all this demonic ass energy.
Right.
Why do you think the whole day of whole Halloween it got all nothing but demons, you know, what they call ghosts, you know, or you just dressing up. You don't even know what the custom go back to. And our people so lazy they don't even want to do no research on it. But then when things start happening to them, or when judgment start happening, when violence happens, they wonder why, or they wonder why these people doing it. But the same days and the same wicked customs that you follow these holidays, they got demons attached to them. And when you go out there in that same spirit, you got those same spirits on you. So then when situations happen, when things happen, you start wondering why it's so violent. Why so much stuff be happening? What's wrong with people? Why the days are not the same no more? Proverbs 1. Proverbs 1. But through the Spirit of the Lord, he been sending out his men to warn our people of all the judgment that he got coming, because there's going to be no excuses, and our people not going to have no cloak for their sin. And tomorrow is November the 1st, you know. They said that they weren't sending out no benefits, and they meant it, you know, because, again, tomorrow is November the 1st. The government still shut down, and they ain't said nothing about sending out. So now you got the local cities, you know, your local areas, they trying to gather up food, or they trying to gather up the funds to be able to supply food for people, but there's no way you can supply enough food for people to sustain them for however long it's gonna take. Because people have to eat multiple times a day, so that means you have to start rationing food. But you got people that got a lot of kids. All these women got a lot of kids. You know, you got men that gotta eat. Everybody eat different portions. Right. And like we was talking about earlier, you got people that's undisciplined. Right. See, us in this truth, if the Lord bring us into that situation, first and foremost, we got faith. We know who to call on. And secondly, the Lord has already put us in the mindset of we might have to go without food. So we know we understand that we don't, that's why the Lord told us to fast. Well, it's not the only reason, but fasting was definitely a part of it. We understand we can go a certain amount of time without having food if we had to, because the Lord has already taken us through the process of getting disciplined enough to know how to be patient.
That's right.
But see, our people, they don't want to go through that process of being refined. So when that time of judgment, because that's why, but here it is, a week ago, we wasn't even a week in, you had women already talking about, they gonna ransack the stores, they going into the stores and they stealing, they gonna get theirs. Yeah, other women talking about how they got some stuff for sale. They finna sell themselves if they can't eat, if they ain't get their benefits. That was a week ago, They ain't even let 1 week pass before it happened. They already spazzing out about it. You have men doing the same thing too.
That's right.
Talking about what they gonna do. And people recording themselves doing this. It ain't even just no hearsay. So these people are extremely undisciplined. But us in this truth, that's why we thankful for Yahweh Shem Shah taking us through this refining period.
That's right.
That discipline really train, especially for a man, that discipline really train, it really hones in that masculinity that comes from a whole nother realm. See, even
Right.
Esau, he's undisciplined. That's why he sold his birthright when he got hungry. That's the same thing with these people doing. When they get hungry and they don't see no end to their hunger, or they don't think that it's gonna be no way out, they instantly turn into that humanistic nature. They gonna do whatever it takes to survive.
They're in survival mode.
Right, the survival mode.
Can I say something? Bro?
Right, go ahead.
Hey, long time ago, I was going, I went up to the welfare office trying to give the kids and stuff, because I was telling the people up there that my first wife was unfit. She never at home with them and stuff like that. And I'm thinking that they're going to go out there and, see for themselves. Why in the world they got to call them and let them know that they coming out, prepare them that they coming out? And I thought about when I seen on the news today, if the federal government shutting down, why I see all these black people in high places trying to help these people prepare themselves for the worst when they ain't gonna be, just what you just got through saying. Why they trying to prepare them for the worst to come? They always have did that. Trying to save the black woman. And when she always been wrong then. They don't care that the man, but all they just see, let's save the black woman. Like they always putting the black woman on the pedestal when she is dead wrong.
Right.
But in reality now, see, back in the 70s, Esau removed the man from the house
Right.
and took the woman from the man.
Right.
And now he's going through a divorcing period. He's they're in court now, and he's taking away, all the benefits, the house. He don't want the kids. He tried to take them, but he don't want them.
Yeah.
So now he's divorcing. He's divorcing the black woman. So now she's gonna be forced to go back to the black man, for support, because now she don't have it. So it's just the same way the Most High divorced us as a nation. He's showing us that, all right, I'm gonna take your woman back from Esau. I took and gave her to Esau. I'm gonna take and give her, take her back and give her, the ones that he reserved back to you, and y'all gonna build my nation.
Right.
So when you look at it, the whole spiritual sense, this is the work of the Most High, and He's doing this. He's severing that tie with Eve and Esau.
I'm gonna add to you. He took the minds of the children, but he took the minds of the women too. But he took the minds of the children too, because You got that. That's why they got the whole creation of the YNs now. You know what they call the YNs.
Right.
And then not only that, he dumbing down each generation as the generations go. He dumbing them down. They don't have they haven't had their father in their life, so now they're more effeminate. You know, they're filled with they don't know how to control themselves. They don't know how to control their emotions, and then they're not masculine. You know, and then on top of that, they fully weaponized to be against their own people. So he took the minds of the children, you know, and now, like you said, he kicking both of you out of his whole under his household, so to speak. Because a man, when a woman comes out of a man's household, she gains benefits. She gains benefits to his stability, to his protection, to his resources. You know, because he gonna take care of her. You know, she gains benefits to his education because it's a man's. You know, he when I say education, that can be both. You know, in a regular sense, but also spiritual. Because a man teaches his woman things about the scriptures or about the Bible. But when she was under Esau Edom, she learned all of his ways and his methods and was under his household. So now he kicking her out. And before the Lord allowed Esau to start cutting these women off, he started getting the men in a mindset of not to want to really deal with them in such a sense. You know, stop simping. And a lot of men, and not even just Israelite men, but a lot of men in general, because you got some of the men of other nations, they kind of done dealing with the women of their own nation. But the thing is, the Lord got the women of the other nations wanting the Israelite man. So even though they not dealing with their women, they still lose because they women want the Israelite man. It's just the Israelite woman, starting with the Southern Kingdom, that just it gotta be something severe for them to get in line.
Right. You know, when I was telling y'all earlier about that guy that was on Instagram, you know, he was saying, yeah, y'all women walking around here wanting these high 5 figures and 6-figure men. He said, now you're gonna be happy with a $40,000 man, you know, or $50,000 man because he got money, he got a job, he able to feed you, you know. So, you know, it's the value of a black man is the Most High is giving it back, you know. And high value men are gonna be those that are keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments because he's gonna put that protection on them that whatever this society do won't bother them, it won't hinder them. They're gonna go through some things, but they're not gonna be affected by it because they're walking in his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Right. You know, high value. If we gonna get it, because the brother finna read it. He finna read about Jacob and Esau, and when the scriptures go into Jacob, and you go into it say he was then it say he was perfect. What it say? I forgot what. But he was a plain man.
Yeah.
And you go into that plain, they go into perfect. But when you start to go into some of the synonyms of perfect, Jacob was really that high value man. All the characteristics of Jacob, he was humble. You know, he had integrity. His character was on a whole nother level. You know, because he come from a line of righteous men. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. You know, they instilled those same core values that they learned that Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you know, did with them. He instilled it into Jacob too. He was a patient man. You know, we all know how. Just look at yourself. You know, we all sons of Jacob. So when they go into a plain man, Jacob was that high value man. You had the high value man and you had an Edomite, you know, which was the lowest value man. These were two opposites. That's what the angel was telling Rebecca. You literally got two different types of people in your womb, you know, the high value man and the base man. And these are gonna be opposites, but this is a balance that the Lord is doing. And he always tipped that balance in whichever favor, it depending on what time of prophecy it was. But now that it's been tipped in the balance of Esau, the Lord is tipping it, where he's tipping it into the balance where the Israelites is finna rule and win. Like I said, we're gonna get the story, you know, go down to the portion where Esau was hungry, you know, and how he was willing, because you know Isaac was teaching them both. Isaac didn't just teach Jacob about the truth, about the Lord. He was teaching them both, but only Jacob took heed to it because it was in his spirit. He was that plain, that perfect man of high standards, you know. And they knew Esau wasn't like that. They knew Esau was different from the moment he was born. Well, really, Rebecca knew before. Well, Isaac and Rebecca knew before they were born. But from the moment he was born, they knew it was something different about him. They probably knew he was gonna play a significant role in the future too.
This is on Genesis chapter 25. We'll start at verse 20. Start at verse 19. Now these in the Amplified Version. Now these are the records of the descendants of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Armenian, the Syrian of Padanaram, sister of Laban, the Syrian, the Armenian. Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife because she was unable to conceive children. And the Lord granted his prayer, and Rebekah, his wife, worse. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived twins.
Right, and that's another thing, a whole nother point, tying all the way back into the point of these women. The women of the ancient world, Sarah, and Rebekah, and Rachel, they was unable to bear children, but they wanted to bear children. Isaac prayed, all the men prayed for their wives, and they prayed for themselves too. You know, that just goes to show you how much they trusted into the Lord. Because again, Isaac taught his sons, Jacob and Esau, just like Adam taught Cain and Abel. You know, they taught their children how to worship the Lord and how to serve the Lord. So they also had faith and trusted in the Lord. That's why he prayed to the Lord. The Lord opened her womb.
Also, it shows you that Rebecca had respect for Abraham, that Sarah had respect for Abraham, that she went to, Rebecca, had respect for Isaac, that she went to him to find out what was going on. She just didn't go diddy-bopping down to the church or to the, at that time, to the prophet or priest of that time to find out. She went to him and inquired of him what happened, because she knew that the Most High spoke with him and dealt with him. So a woman to know that within her man and see that, the Most High is dealing with my man, that in order for her to know that, she has to have a relationship with the Most High as well. They have to be one, and she followed that authority, to go to the man, to go to the Most High, and there's many other cases like that as well.
Genesis 25 and 22. But the children struggled together within her, kicking and shoving one another. And she said, if it is so that the Lord has heard our prayer, why then am I this way? So she went to inquire of the Lord, praying for an answer. And the Lord Yahweh said to her, the founders of two nations are in your womb, and the separation of two nations has begun in your body. It said a founder of two nations and the separation of two nations. The one people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger.
Right, the elder shall serve the younger. So like he said, it's two different nations, two different types of people finna come out of you that you finna give birth to. One of them is gonna be a man of integrity, high standards, a high value man. He gonna be the one that's gonna continue on the lineage. He gonna be the one to continue on the covenant and the son of God's lineage. And the other one is gonna be a complete opposite. You know, he gonna be the one that I'm completely against. You know, the Lord told Rebecca all these things, and she kept it in her mind. That's why when it came to the time of the blessing, she already knew what was up. You know, she made sure that and what she did was righteous. You know, because most people try to credit saying that Jacob stole the birthright, but no, Rebecca was a part of the reason why everything went into motion, because the Lord told her what was going to be the play. He told her that Esau was going to serve Jacob, and in order for that to happen, that meant Jacob had to get the birthright.
When her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Right? The first came out reddish all over like a hairy garment, and they named him Esau.
Right, he come out reddish all over, because that's the real color of an Edomite. They turn red, you know. There is no such thing as a so-called white man. We ain't black, you know. We different shades of brown. But as far as the Edomite, the so-called white people, you can see their blood vessel, you can see their blood through their skin while they turn red.
Afterward, his brother came out, and his hand grasped Esau's heel, so he was named Jacob, one who grabs the heel or supplanter. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to them. When the boys grew up, Esau was an able and skilled hunter, a man of the outdoors. But Jacob was a quiet and peaceful man living in tents.
Right, so Esau was a man of the outdoors, always outdoors doing something, always out exploring the earth. If it's something to take or something to find, best believe he gonna be out there finding it, and he gonna take it. You know, any type of resources he can exploit and utilize, they ain't changed. You know, Esau, he'll find resources in the earth and make some type of device to sell products to people, you know, here in Babylon the Great. And then 5 to 10 years later, people got cancer. You know, this is how this man do. You know, he was doing that type of stuff in the ancient world, trying to figure out how stuff works so he can use it for his purpose. But his purpose was always meant for the destruction, you know. And if it, huh?
I said diabetes and
Yeah.
bad, you know, heart disease.
But it said Jacob was it said he was a peaceful man, a quiet and peaceful man. Jacob, you said quiet and who? You said quiet and peaceful.
Peaceful man, dwelling in tents.
Right, he was a quiet and peaceful man. Jacob had that stoic mentality. You know, Jacob was a real stoic. You know, he wasn't. Let that pass. He wasn't like Esau. Jacob really had that leadership. Jacob really had what it took to be a real leader. You know, a quiet, peaceful man. He wasn't trying to disturb nobody. He went and did his work, you know, and he didn't complain. He did what it took. You know, Jacob was a hard worker. We learned about that when he left and went to his uncle. You know, he worked for 14 years, really just to marry Rachel. But, you know, he wound up getting Leah, Rachel, I think Zilpah, and Benah, I think that was their name, something like that. You know? Yeah, the handmaiden. So he had 2 wives, 2 concubines. But, like, you know, Jacob was a very hard worker, you know, so he was a quiet, peaceful man. He went and did his work, he stayed out the way. And that's how Jake like to operate.
Isaac loved and favored Esau because he enjoyed eating his game. But Rebecca loved and favored Jacob.
Yeah. Hey, was Jesus black? Hold on, I'm trying to flip it down. Because this is what you call devil meat. I'm gonna move down. I wanna ask y'all a question first. Happy Halloween. I like Christmas more than I like Halloween. Was Jesus black or was he would you consider God sent Jesus to the world as a Jew then? Y'all believe in Jesus? Because y'all believe in Jesus, I go ahead on.
Yeah, we believe in the Lord, but his name not Jesus, but yeah, we believe in the Lord.
And he is a dark-skinned man. He'll be considered a Negro today.
And yeah, he was a Jew.
He is a Jew.
Well, yeah, he is. But
And
not
then
Israelite.
us
Us
over
as
in
black
the lane.
people.
We the real Jews.
Okay. I thought we was the offspring of a Jew.
Nah, we the real Jews. Them guys in the land of Israel. ain't
Because
no real
Jesus
Jews.
could have sent his son. I mean, God could have sent his son into this world as a white man, or black man, or German man, or Russian man, or whatever he wanted to send his son as. He sent his son as a Jew one.
That's right, yeah.
And we were
We the Jews.
under the Jew one.
We the real Jews. Yeah.
Could you say we've been through more stuff than the Jew?
We the real Jews. That's what.
I'm just saying it because my grandma was
Yeah,
a Cherokee
for sure.
Indian.
The Cherokee.
Black people don't get this kind of help.
Listen, the Cherokee. My
I
grandma.
got Indian.
My grandma Cherokee.
You got Indian in you.
That the Indians are part of the Israelites. The Indians are the Israelites.
Look
Look
at
at
the
the
sign.
sign right here. That's the 12 tribes. So them all
I see
our
that
people.
Jew and Negro.
Right.
And Benjamin. What is Benjamin?
West Indian, the Jamaicans.
Jamaicans. And you say your mom was, your grandma Cherokee.
My grandma's a full-blooded Cherokee, and I'm trying to figure out how my granddaddy today even have hollered at a woman like that.
They'll go to the North, see the North American Indians.
Yeah.
You
Because
know, they
most
are-
Indian people and most Chinese people, they with their own kind. I'm trying to figure out how my granddad even got an Indian woman.
Because they the same people. They
Yeah,
the,
we
yeah,
are
we the
we all
same
are
people.
Israelites.
Okay,
we the same people. My grandma was a full-blood Cherokee.
And just to correct you, the Lord couldn't come down as looking like any other nation, but what He is.
Where he
You know?
came as a Jew.
Well, he came as himself. He is an Israelite. He's not gonna come down looking like nobody else. You know, they're
Okay,
like
I got
people
you.
that passed away, like Martin Luther King. If they tried to portray him as a so-called white man now, that's a lie. You know, but our Lord and Savior, He is a dark-skinned man with woolly hair.
See that right there.
So that's what he gonna come down
ain't a
looking
white
like.
man.
Right. And they got scriptures that tell you, where to find that in the Bible.
Y'all got no brochures and none out here.
No, we ain't got no brochure. And just to correct you too, we ain't supposed to be celebrating the holidays though. Halloween, Christmas,
Halloween, that's pagan. That's pagan. stuff.
Christmas, all that's in the Bible. The Lord told us not to do it. And the more our people do it, the more it angers Him. And the more it angers Him, eventually He brings judgment on our people. So what we out here to do is warn our people, like everything that we learn from this world. Eventually, the Lord gonna have a period where He stop having mercy, and He just gonna judge you for it.
Because you know what? When God kick a hole through that sky one day, they're gonna be held to pay the high price.
Yep.
But somebody paid that price. Anybody tell me who paid that price?
Well, I was shot. Who you got it?
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
They're gonna be held to pay the high price. I can't pay that price. Because
Well,
when I
well-
open up the white man Bible, they tell me I was bought with a price.
Well, that's our Bible.
That's
It
our
ain't the
Bible.
white man
That's our
Bible.
history.
The Bible actually condemns the so-called white man. The Bible lets you know what's gonna happen to the so-called white man.
Yeah.
So it's not his Bible. The Bible describes who the world called Jesus as a so-called black man. So if the Bible was a white man Bible, why would He let that be in there? That the Lord and Savior is a
Would you
dark
say we living in a white man country?
Huh?
Would you say we living in a white
Well,
man
he
country?
controlled this country.
We are what God have us.
Yeah, God used the white man.
We are what we should be.
We are what we should be because God used the white man to punish us.
Okay,
Which before the white man came, so-called white man, the Native Americans, like you said, the Cherokees, all the different tribes of the
grandma
so-called,
over there,
they was over here before the white man came. So
But my daddy was from Ghana.
Yeah.
But in Africa, my
yeah,
granddaddy was
West
from
Africa,
Ghana.
yeah.
And we got.
And I ask myself all the time, I said, man, how my granddaddy find a fine woman like that? You know what I'm saying? I had to ask myself like that. You know what I'm saying? I had to ask myself that.
Is he an
It was a
Israelite?
reason and it's a purpose for everything in life. It's a reason you met your wife, you met your wife, you met your wife, you met your wife. It's a reason you met your wife, man.
Right.
Do you think it's a purpose behind what God's doing all this
Right.
in our world?
It's a reason for everything.
It's a reason for everything.
We-
You know, I don't get up every morning and say, well, I woke myself up, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that today. It's a reason God woke me up then.
Right.
But you know what? Well, I died 2 days ago, I died 20 years ago. That still made me what? I'm dead. Okay. And I won't ride with you. When do we ride? Do we have a spirit? When we die, we have a spirit that'll go somewhere?
Yeah, your spirit go back to the Heavenly Father. You go back to the spiritual.
Okay, yeah.
Right now we're in the physical realm.
We're in the physical world. I'm in a physical body.
Right. But for you,
This bed can break down anytime.
right.
I can lay down and not wake up in the morning. How old are you? About 30, 35? 28. You ain't even 30. I cannot wake up in the morning, but I'm 54. You know what? I feel like I live my life.
Yeah.
I done put 2 kids through college, but I feel like I done live my life. I ain't no Christian. I ain't no Muslim. I don't really know what I am. I'm a child of God. I treat people how I want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? I can't call him Jesus. I can't call him Allah. I'm just saying I'm a child of whoever in that universe.
And
They're going to show mercy on
like
me
you
one
said,
day.
you
If
got
I live again.
you
I
got-
might not live again. I might not live again.
right. Like you
But
said,
I'm not going to believe that. I'm going to believe God.
you got core values that like you saying, you know, you don't really know what to believe, but you got
Yeah.
core values. The reason why you got that because you're an Israelite. Like we reading about our forefather that he the progenitor of the Israelites. Named Jacob, which his name was changed to Israel, and it said he was a
You know what
quiet
my
man.
name is? I have no idea why my mama gave me the name. My name is Ishmael.
Ishmael, really?
That's my first name, Ishmael.
Okay.
Yeah.
It came from the Bible.
Yeah.
It came from the Bible then.
Check the guy with his real name
It was Abraham's son, the one he
Yeah,
did
his
claim.
first son.
I feel like I'm not claiming at times, but
I had just looked it up too. I can't remember. But what I was saying was the reason why you got those core values is because you were Israel. Jacob was a plain. They say he was a plain man,
Jacob,
a quiet, peaceful man. He had integrity. He had those same core values that you have. And that's the reason why. But you know, of course, we got to understand who we come from so we can know how to perfect it. You know, because
the Bible said my people perish because they lack knowledge.
Right,
We
right.
don't know where we come from.
right.
But somebody said the other day, black folks ain't got that kind of hair. I said, no, my grandma was a heathen, and I guess it was passed down to me from my dad.
Right, man. You know, I mean, you can't even tell the difference now because a lot of people we might think that we one thing, we come from one of these tribes, we actually come from another. It go by your father lineage. So you know, all these were men, and the man is what determines your genealogy, your nationality. But all these are Israelites. We just come from different tribes.
But
So-
we're all part of God's creation, though.
right. So like you said, when your granddaddy pulled your grandma.
Uh-huh.
The reason why he was just able to do it like that, more than likely he is an Israelite, and they vibe together, but they was destined to be together.
Because
You know?
I look at some of them pictures sometimes, I say, Granddad, I used to tell my granddad, how you know my grandma? He died when I was 10 years old. I remember when he died. I remember when he died, I was sitting on the porch with him. And my grandma had brought some IT out. We drank some IT. I grew up in New Orleans. If y'all ever been in New Orleans. And she had brought him a glass of IT out. He drank the iced tea, and I was sitting there talking to him. He was rocking in the chair. And I seen something else to him. And all I seen was him shaking. I went and got my grandma, and he had died of a stroke, bro. You know what I'm saying? He had died of a stroke. And I said, never in my life. Never in my life, bro.
There's no,
But, we all live and we all gonna go one day. But you don't think about that when you're 28. You think about that when you're this old. Like, you don't think about that when you're 20. When, I'm 20, I'm working on oil. I made $150,000 a year. But I thought I was moving that.
most men don't think about it.
You don't think about that when you're young. Most men.
most
What
men
you mean,
don't.
most men?
Yeah.
You somebody else I'm talking to. You
I'm-
think
what-
about it one day. You know you're gonna leave this earth one day.
What I'm saying is, us being Israelites, when we tap back into learning who we are
Who
part of,
we
who
are,
we're attached to,
who we are.
coming from the Heavenly Father, He put you in the right mindset to how you supposed to live
on
and how
now,
you
bro.
supposed to think. What's
Come on
really important on this earth? We come, like he was saying, we have a purpose. We come down and serve the purpose of the Lord.
Yeah, we're not here by accident.
not. But as far as your granddad, he in the spiritual realm with the
He
Heavenly
is,
Father.
he
He
is.
gonna live again. We all live again. Our spirit.
I sure hope that. I sure hope what you're saying. I sure hope that. Bro. I hope. I hope. I got hope.
Yeah, because our
If I ain't
spirits,
have hope, where would I be?
our spirits
Probably in
don't die.
prison doing a life sentence.
Our spirits don't die.
Yeah.
The body might die, but your spirit never die. So, and,
gotta
and
have
the, reason,
hope, man.
the reason why we out here is to let our people know that we got a kingdom come. And our kingdom is going to be on earth. And everybody that was an Israelite is going to be a part of it eventually. So we telling our people to repent so you don't get judged and get a harsh judgment before you get to that kingdom. Because like about the flood, all those people died except for those 8 souls, Noah and his household. All they had to receive their judgment before they lived again. And we telling our people, you don't want to go through that judgment. We don't want to go through it either. So
Like I said, when God kick a hole through that sky, it's gonna be hell to pay the high price. But I feel like somebody paid that price. Whether it was Allah, Jesus, whoever, somebody paid that price for us down
he
here.
paid the price for the elect. Because even though all these people are children of God, all of them not going to be saved right now. Only the elect. They're like with Noah. Yeah, all those people on the earth, we don't even know the population, but the Lord only saved 8 souls. So that means men, women, and children died. So he ain't looking for everybody. He's looking for those that repent and turn back to him.
Hey, let me ask y'all a question. Y'all know anything about like foreign language? I heard a dude keep saying Salam. What that mean?
Peace.
Peace. I mean peace.
Or Shalom.
Yeah. I was talking to a dude, he was like, Shalom, Shalom, or something like that. He was telling me, that means peace. Okay, I was just trying to figure out what it meant.
IUIC, they say Shalom.
Shalom is it's just short.
It means peace. That's
Right.
what it means. Okay. I don't know. One thing about me, I'm 54 years old, bro. And it's something every day I don't learn. It's something every day I learn. I got a 16-month-old grandchild. You can put an iPhone on the table and you don't bother. You put one of them flip phones on the table, you're gonna take it and put it in the toilet. So I'm learning something from a 16-month-old child. That means he don't like nothing cheap, do you? If you put your iPhone down there, you put your Samsung down there or something like that, then you don't bother. But you put a flip phone down there, you take it and put it in the toilet.
Right, he
Come on,
Israelite.
that girl said, what happened to my phone? I said, what kind of phone you had? She was like, it was a flip phone. I said, oh, you need to check the toilet. My 16-month-old grandbaby. Well, if it ain't a good phone, he gonna throw it away.
Yeah, Israelite.
I said, man, you gonna get you a job with the phone people when you grow up. For real. That's just how smart he is. Mhm.
I'm gonna say that you know a lot now, so you gotta.
Yeah,
walk
but
back.
I always
You gotta
ask
walk
questions.
back.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna ask
you
questions
got-
the day I die.
For sure.
I'm gonna ask questions for the
Cause
day I
like
die.
he said-
Because this world, man, this world right here, bro, we learn something every day.
That's right.
We learn something every day in this world. 54, 64, 74, 84, 94, 100. You're gonna learn something out here every day, bro.
I see, you know Halloween and pagan day. You know them pagan
I know
days.
it's
So
a
why
pagan
you, why
day.
You, why you walk up saying Happy Halloween?
I don't know.
Stop tripping. See,
Probably the next couple months I'm gonna be hollering Merry Christmas.
But don't do it. Listen though. But listen though, bro. You know better.
Yeah,
So don't try to.
I do know
Don't
better.
try to fit in.
So, right,
Don't try to fit in with. You don't gotta say this.
I shouldn't be
Yeah.
I shouldn't be with a tribe of Indians when I'm a white man, huh?
That's right.
It look like I'll be kind of like what they call that word when you kind of don't fit in.
You're in the middle.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's how I'll be when
Like you said, you 54, so we supposed to be setting an example too for the younger generation.
Right.
Yeah, I do. I
They
tell them all
lost.
the time. I tell them all the time, stay out of trouble.
I'm not
That's
just
what
saying
folks
that. I'm
told
just
me,
saying
stay out
like,
of trouble.
like even with the holidays, you set the example.
But I know just telling somebody to stay out of trouble ain't enough.
Yeah.
Because people told me to stay out of trouble. I called my first felony at 25, called another one at 35, and then another one at 45. So people kind of told me to stay out of trouble. You know what I'm saying?
But it ain't
But
just
I can't say it. I can't blame them people for telling me to stay out of trouble. I can blame myself for not listening. Because sometimes a ear fall on deaf ground. And I feel like when I was young, it fell on deaf ground. As I got older, it fell on deaf ground too. But it just had it always something in your life that's gonna happen in your life. I'm running from the police on the natural trade in a brand new motherfucking BMW. Flipped that bitch about 12 times, maybe 20 times off a hill. Kicked the window out when it got on fire. Got to the top of the hill. state trooper on top of the hill. He said, "Do you need an ambulance?" I said, "Hell no, I need a ride home." Because it was only by the grace of God that I was made. It was only by the grace of God that I made it out that car. But I can't say nothing about my life because somebody else done been out here through some worse shit than that. You know what I'm saying?
What do you say, brother? What you need?
He said, look, I said, he said, "Oh, do you need an ambulance?" I said, "Hell no, I need a ride home." He said, "No, I'm taking you to jail right now." After that, when you burn out, you can get you a ride home. Because you done took me 10 miles on the national trail. Okay. When I was young, some told me, "Kick that one out." The seatbelt got stuck for a minute. The car on fire now. It got stuck for me. I said, "Lord, please don't let me go this day." And for some reason, that seatbelt released. I kicked that one there, crawled out that car. I called about 15, 20 people in that car, and that car blew up, bro. About how they got them, what's the name of that?
Hotel.
Yeah.
What they call the hotel?
King Edward.
The fire went by far the King Edward up there to the roof. I ain't lying, bro.
What you tell me?
That man said,
I need a
that man
ride.
said, "You need an ambulance." I said, "Hell no, I need a ride home." Shoot, I need a ride home, huh?
That's why I
Well,
said.
he said, "Right now you're going to jail if you don't need no ambulance." And he cut me, put me in the car. And you know what? They called me about $40,000 running from the police. So it might take you some time. It might be all right if you just pull your car over. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I said let that, you know, that experience. for
That's
you
an
be-
experience, ain't it, man?
Let it be an example for.
So we all
how
go
you-
through something in the world on there.
Let it be an example of how you walk. Like I said, you gotta be an example for the younger generation. So let that,
He still laughing.
Yeah, like he's saying.
I was just saying, let that be an example of your walk for the younger generation. 'Cause it's not about just telling people how to live, but it's more so about walking what you're saying. And
It's kind of like when the preacher preach. You got to practice what you preach.
it ain't about how many
That's
people.
what I was going to say.
You got to practice what you preach in the world, ain't it?
Because you got many opportunities
Okay.
to do it. You know,
We
like
all
the brother
sinners,
said,
but we got to practice what
know-
we preach. If we
you-
preach tonight.
You have some knowledge.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and now is the time to use that knowledge and walk in that knowledge.
You know what? Because knowledge being in a ball is just knowledge in a ball, ain't it? It won't be released. You
Right.
can't tell somebody. You can't help somebody. You can't save somebody. I don't understand what you're saying, brother.
And see, the next time, Most High might take you because He's giving you many opportunities.
God give us so many, don't He? God give us so many. Praise to God. Praise to the Lord up above. He give us so many, brother.
Back in Genesis 25 and 29. Let me see. Salakia 28. And Isaac loved and favored Esau because he enjoyed eating. Yeah, I read this.
Yeah.
That's from the Old Testament.
Well,
Genesis.
You going to Jacob with a plane, man.
where I read it. I go to the KJ. No, you know, it said he was a man quiet, peaceful, dwelling in tents. Cause I read it. I go to the KJ. It's Genesis 25 and 27, KJV, and the boys group. And Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents.
Right.
Them the two sons of Adam and Eve.
Isaac.
Jacob and Isaac. No,
Isaac.
Isaac.
Yeah.
Them were Abraham's sons.
Yeah,
Was it Adam and Eve?
Isaac was Abraham's son. So Isaac had Esau and Jacob.
Okay.
So this the beginning of everybody on this side and the so-called white man. Esau is the so-called white man, and Jacob is the father of all these nations on. Well, not all these nations, but all these different tribes on the
Because the
side.
Bible says, "I make you fathers of many." He said, "I make you fathers of many nations." Right.
It just amplified.
People do stop and talk to y'all sometimes, don't they? I don't know your name.
Jerry.
And
God bless all four of y'all, brother.
All right, brother. Take care, guys.
All right.
remember,
See you Halloween.
practice what you preach.
Practice
Practice what you preach.
what I preach, ain't it, man? Sure right. All right, thank you, my brother.
All right, brother. That's what you talking about.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Back in the Amplified Version, verse 29, Jacob had cooked reddish brown lentils stew one day. And when Esau came from the field and was famished, and Esau said to Jacob, "Please let me have a quick swallow of that red stuff there, because I am exhausted and famished." For that reason, Esau was also called Edom, red.
Right, red. Another characteristic of it, but the reason why it was red because it was undone. You know, it's going to show you that this really another characteristic of. They don't care if they food undone, they gonna eat it like they prefer it that way. You know, these are people who are very impatient. You know, their nature, they're not like other men. You know, they're not like other nations. And these other nations are doing some wild stuff too, but they ain't on Esau level. You know.
Jacob asked, Amplified Version, verse 31, Genesis 25 and 31. Jacob answered, "First sell me your birthright, the rights of a firstborn." Esau said, "Look, I am about to die. If I do not eat soon, so what of use is this birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear an oath to me today that you are selling it to me for this food." So he swore an oath to him and sold him his birthright.
Right, and that's the same because a lot of our people had the same spirit of Esau on them. You know, both men and women, they are very impatient and undisciplined. Esau couldn't wait a few more moments or however long it would have took for the food to get ready. He been in the field all day. You don't think he could have went out there and found something to eat? You know, but he was very impatient that he was willing to he sold his rights to a future kingdom. You know, he literally sold his rights to an eternal future kingdom, all for a meal that he had in that one lifetime that only got him through a few hours. You know, and this what you see a lot of people doing. Why they got on social media, you know, mainly women. They got on social media and they started talking about what they finna do if they benefits don't hit on November the 1st or whatever day. They said what they gonna do. That's the same spirit of an Edomite. But like you was going into earlier, they've been under his house. They've been under his rulership. They've been under his household. So they gonna naturally take on his spirit, just like any woman that deal with a man. When you start dealing with that man, you gonna naturally take on his spirit. You can say something?
Yeah, they're of their father the devil, and his will they will do. You know, so like you're going into, you know, and the story is showing, like, you know, it's drama and stuff in the storyline, which the birthright was never set up for Esau, but like he's going into, it's just showing you the characteristics of both men. You know, it's showing you Esau ain't have no integrity. You know what I'm saying? No patience, and he just was a man of the field. He would just go off instinct. You know what I'm saying? If something don't happen how he want, he'll do anything to get it. And this is spirit. And this is spirit, like you said, this the spirit Babylon the Great try to put on you.
Right, you know, and that same spirit is trickled on down because when you go out to eat, well, and they order steak, what they say? Rare, medium rare. I'm talking about Esau. You know, and that fire truck passed by. And that's that same spirit. And like the brother just said, they impatient. They don't want to wait for it. And you know, the scriptures clearly tell us not to eat bloody meat or nothing that's bloody, that has blood in it. Right. You know, so, and I know that Isaac taught him that, and Abraham taught him that. So that was in his nature. When he came in, he wanted that red meat, you know. Right.
Right, because it said from the womb, which it don't go into how they grew up, but but you can speculate through the spirit when they came from the womb, they was already at war against each other. So you can just imagine two brothers growing up together. I don't have a brother, but men that got brothers, siblings in general, you gonna always have a sibling rivalry. You know, you gonna compete or go against each other at some point in your life. And they were twins, so they were practically at the same age. They were practically at the same age. And these are two different spirits. You know they was opposing each other growing up, because right out there went into their characteristics. It said Isaac loved Rebecca. Isaac loved Esau because of his food. You know, he went into the meat. You know, Esau was always out there getting food, getting the meat, you know. And men, we like to eat, you know. But Jacob, it just said Rebecca loved Jacob. But again, through the spirit, you can speculate. First and foremost, she already knew the plan of the Lord. But then also too, Jacob had a kingly, righteous spirit, and she knew that Esau wasn't right. You know, Esau probably giving her a hard time growing up. You know, you just think about how these Edomites treat their mama now. You know, they always giving their parents a hard time. Recently I heard we was at the bowling alley, and it was a little Edomite. It was time to go. They were done bowling, and his dad was trying to tell him to do something. He yelled out no, and his dad was just sitting there. I'm looking at him like, you know, it's time to go. You know, cause ain't no way that Edomite. I'd have been rolling that Edomite down the damn lane. Cause ain't no way he screamed out no to his dad when his dad told him to do something. Dad didn't do nothing about it. So you can only imagine, and you know, this is just me speaking as a man, but you can only imagine Esau was probably giving them hell growing up, you know, or he was just in opposition because he didn't have the same spirit that Jacob had. He didn't have the same spirit Isaac, Rebecca, Abraham had. You know, I think Sarah was already passed away at that time. But Esau didn't, she was. Esau didn't have the same spirit.
You know, that's a spirit that's been lingering around a very long time, because in my younger days, when I was working at Jitney Jonga, and you know, some people may remember that back in the day. Yeah. You know, this little Edomite kid sitting in the buggy was riding around, mom pushing him around. They were making shopping for groceries. And he was telling his mama throughout. You can hear him on the aisle. Mama, you're ugly. Mama, you're ugly. You know, if that was a Eve woman, you know, if that kid had been like this, or like the brother was saying, you know, they do the comedian, they be in that long and stop breathing, you know, for about 5 or 10 minutes.
You got your lip pulled, ear pulled, you got hit in the back, shit, all would have came back.
Right.
All right. You got it. So, unless you're gonna read.
Just read the last verse.
Okay.
Verse 24. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank, and got up and went on his way. In this way, Esau scorned his birthright.
Right. So after Esau ate, there's a cherry right above him. After Esau ate, he just got up and continued like it went like ain't nothing happened. You know, he just went back to normal. He ain't think nothing about that birthright. He ain't think nothing about it. Do you just think about these people? When they don't care what they gotta do to get food. They gonna get food, and they ain't. You see, Esau didn't change. He didn't have no integrity. He stayed the exact same type of man. Matter of fact, he got worse. He got worse when it came time for the birthright. What he wound up doing, he went from just probably opposing Jacob or just being at odds with him, you know, growing up to, he was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna kill him. You know, as soon as Isaac passed away, his whole mindset been, I'm gonna kill Jacob. So that's the mindset of the Edomites. You know, they've been on, that's what they really been, they've been on demon time. That's where it started at, that demon time. It started with them. Now our people done adapted that same spirit, like you were saying. They children of these children, they got the same spirit on them too. you know, on that demon time. That's why they not afraid to do. No, they don't have no fear. Yahweh Shem Yahweh. Jacob did, you know. So when that time of famine really, cause we gonna see how things play out in the next few weeks. You know, we really gonna see. Really starting tomorrow, we gonna see. But especially the next few weeks, we gonna see. You know, brothers, we out here right now. Like the guy came up. You know, he said, you know, your wife. You know, my wife, which I ain't got no wife right now. I ain't got no woman. But shit, in a couple of weeks, we all probably got wives. You know, got multiple wives or something. We gonna see just how things play out, because when the Lord brings His judgment, you know, anybody gonna be willing to do whatever it takes to survive. But even in that, the Lord is only a certain number of people the Lord got chosen. A lot of people finna be rejected. The Lord rejecting a lot of people, and He gonna put the Spirit on His men to reject a lot of women.
All right. This is Proverbs 1 and 1. I'm going to read it in the AMP. It says, the Proverbs, truth obscurely expressed maximum of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, to know skillful and godly wisdom and instructions, to discern and comprehend the words of understanding and insight.
When you read to 5, you can jump down to 20.
All right. To receive instructions in wise behavior and to and the discipline of wise thoughtfulness,
Right.
righteousness, justice, and integrity.
Right, see, and it said in the discipline. This is what the wisdom of Yahweh Shem Yahweh gives unto you. Because Jacob had discipline as well. You know, you don't think that the Lord had times where He refined him and made him into that great man that he became? You know, we all went through a refining period of becoming a version of ourselves that Yahweh Shem Yahweh would approve of. But Esau, he can't be refined. You know, he is the only nation that can't be refined into something greater. You try to refine an Edomite, they get worse. But like I said, that skillful and godly wisdom, along with that discipline, you really on a whole nother level. You know, once you start to learn, you really become on a whole nother level. And then just thinking about it, you know, everybody else, they're not moving like that. They're not thinking like that. You know, you think about the men. Just think about the men in the churches. They're not learning what Yahweh Shem Yahweh has taught. You know, taught the men that's in this truth. You know, so like building your character, because that's what this is all about. That's a part of your purpose in this world. You know, our characters are supposed to be constantly refined so we can be more like Yahweh Shah. We can think like Him, we can act like Him, we can move like Him. Those men that's gonna be made more precious than fine gold, they're gonna have characteristics beyond anything on this earth. Because nobody else is gonna be moving like the men of the Lord. They ain't gonna be thinking like Him, acting like Him, moving like Him. The masculinity, it's gonna be, literally everything about you is gonna be from another realm.
Or have the protection.
Right, right.
From the Most High.
Right, everything about you is gonna be out of this world. That's why 2 Ezra 16 say, then it shall be known who are my chosen. You literally are gonna be moving completely different from all the rest of the men on the earth. You're gonna stand out, and that ain't gonna just stop then. That's gonna continue well on into the kingdom. Because your story, your legacy, everything you went through, what you had to, you know, what you achieved, your wins, your losses, all that's gonna be documented. Just like it is for our forefathers. And it might not say, you know, he went through this trial to build him up. You know, it might not go into every individual trial for our forefathers, but we know certain trials where it was meant to test them, they were ready for it, like Abraham. He had faith in the Lord that if he took out Isaac, the Lord still would have brought him back, because he told him that was the son that was going to continue on the covenant. So he had just about that much faith, but it don't tell you what, Abraham had to go through to get built up like that. But it don't matter, his story was still written. And we gonna know his story even into the kingdom and a continuation of it. That wasn't the end of Abraham's story.
Think about Jacob, who wrestled with the Most High.
Wrestle with an angel.
Well, you have scriptures.
Wrestle with an angel.
Yeah. But you think about him. He went through a test. Think about his sons. Joseph, he went through the biggest of the tests. Got sold off to another nation. And on down the line, all the men that followed along through that path. Even Yahushua went through a test. Our Lord and Savior. Because he didn't want to go on the cross. He prayed and asked the Most High to take that cup away from him. And it anguished him so bad that he sweated blood. So we have to be prepared at all times.
Isaiah 26:10 in the Amplified Version. Though the wicked is shown compassion and favor, he does not learn righteousness.
Right, though the wicked is shown compassion and favor, mercy, you try to teach them the right way, he can't learn righteousness. Like I said, we see that with Cain. This so-called white man had multiple opportunities. Cain, the serpent, Cain, Esau. He done had multiple opportunities to try to get himself together, and he can't.
In the land of uprightness, he will deal unjustly. He refuses to see the majesty of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua.
And the sooner our people accept that, the better. Our people, they're eventually they're gonna get to that point, but it's gonna be in the kingdom. But we see it now. That this man, he can't be right. Nothing that he does is gonna be for your benefit. Cause like we just read in Genesis, two different nations, they're gonna be opposing each other. So everything this man do, that's just like back during C-19, they were saying that they got it ready, but blacks, Hispanics, and Latinos, Native American people got to try it first. You think that ain't no good sign?
Right.
He's saying that we got to try his juice first to make sure it worked for us. And now we see the results of it 5 years later. Did you ask him too?
It's verse 12, where Isaiah 26:11. Though your hand is lifted up to strike, O Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the wicked do not see it. Let them see your zeal for your people and be put to shame. Indeed, let the fire reserved for your enemies consume them. Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, you will establish peace for us, since you have also performed to us all that we have done.
All right, and Esau noted. That's why he see us rising up and us waking up and us calling him out on everything in his kingdom, and nothing has been done to us yet. He hadn't made the system to where he can come out and get us. And then on top of that, every time Esau probably proposed to say, okay, look, we're gonna roll on these Israelites or something like that, the Lord probably showing him things or doing things that we don't even know about. When that Elisha, that he asked the Lord to open up the eyes of his servant so he can see all the chariots. It's probably things. Moment Esau probably planned on trying to roll it on one of the camps or make an example, the Lord probably have a chariot come and do something. But they've been seeing more and more chariots. So he probably have it do something right after he said it as a sign, as a warning. And they said it's they call it alien spacecraft, but they said it's basically a chariot just entered into our galaxy heading towards Earth. They steady reporting on it more and more that it's unidentified unidentified flying objects and or UFOs and USOs, unidentified submerged objects. I think that's what it's called. They steady seeing more and more activity.
Oh Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai. Other masters besides you have ruled over us. But through you alone, we confess your name. The wicked dead would not live again. Spirits of the dead would not rise and return. Therefore you have punished and destroyed them, and you have wiped out every memory of them, every face of them, every trace of them.
Right. And that's how it's gonna be, especially in the kingdom of heaven. When we in rulership, ain't nobody gonna be thinking about nothing over here in America. You know, we ain't gonna remember Ford. You know, we ain't gonna remember the iPhone. We ain't gonna ever think about nothing like that ever again. You know, and ain't nobody gonna say they miss it. We ain't gonna be thinking about FaceTime.
And you speaking on that chariot, it just made me think about that movie Transformers. I think that was the last one. But like at the end of it, like that was their thing. They tried to close their portal so that ship couldn't get in. It was like they called it a mothership. It was a big ass ship. And it was starting to come through. But they, of course, you saw they did what they did, and they sent it back to where it came from. Yeah, they see that chariot and sent it into the galaxy, man. Hey, it's almost over with.
Yeah, and they know it. They're literally surrounded. That's why they got them bunkers. They're gonna be trying to go and hide because they can't go in space. They try to go in space, they gonna meet them head on. And if they try to go anywhere else, they literally got the chairs surrounded. And then they hear us, they hear the men of the Lord talking about the angels can disguise themselves looking like men. They won't know the difference.
Right.
And just imagine the Lord give us that same power when He finally give us the go ahead to go and get them out of them bunkers. And we walk in looking like one of their generals, and then we just transform into and we just unleash. You know, he give us the reins to get creative.
Right.
You gonna have some brother that they just go straight through the ground or through the mountain wherever they at and destroy them. You know me, I'm gonna try to do. I do something creative. You know, like they show on. I think it was the Men in Black. You can transform looking like somebody else.
Right.
I'll walk in and then I'll say something out of pocket where they all look at me, then just transform.
I'm going to speak in Hebrew.
Right.
I'm going in like Black Out. I'm straight to the ground.
But we gonna have fun. Paying these Edomites back. We gonna have fun doing that. It's literally we gonna have full reign and get creative, and we gonna be in righteous bodies. So everything we do is gonna be approved of the Lord. You know, I say it like that. Everything we do is gonna be approved of the Lord. That's a part of us getting new bodies. Because being in this flesh, you really you gotta master it in order for it to be, I ain't gonna say in order for it to be approved of the Lord, but in order for it to be, in order for you to be acceptable to the Lord, you have to master this flesh and everything that comes with it. And that's not an easy task. No, that's a lifelong task. Huh?
Also, I was just gonna say also the prolonged life too.
Right. The prolonged life, because us being in the court, you mastering your flesh is a part of your purpose too. You're supposed to bring it to subjection, your flesh. It ain't supposed to rule over you. So your emotions is not supposed to rule over you and make decisions as a man. It's not supposed to make decisions for you, or your impulses. Not being able to control your impulses. And like I was, we were talking earlier, that sexual energy is one of the strongest energies in the body. And it's not easy to control. You got a lot of men, if they in a situation where it's a woman, she'll commit adultery, don't care, and he knows she got a man. A lot of men, they don't hold that integrity, especially if she press upon them. They'll eventually cave in and deal with it, knowing that it's wrong. But we look at our forefather Jacob in that same situation, and he fled away from it. Jacob took a prison sentence.
You mean Joseph?
Joseph, Salaki, the water. Joseph took a prison sentence just to escape from that type of sin, and she was pressing on him every day. That was it on that.
All right, back in Proverbs 1, verse 4, it says, the prudency, good judgment,
Verse
institute.
3 again.
All right, verse 3, it said to receive instructions in wisdom and wise behavior and the discipline of wise thoughtfulness, righteousness, justice, and integrity. That
Bro, y'all chill out, bro. Y'all chill out, bro. Too cold for this, bro.
that prudency, good judgment,
Bro,
astute, common sense may be given to the naive or inexperienced who are easily misled, and knowledge and discretion, intelligent discernment to the youth.
Right. So and that's all given unto us when we start to Sirach chapter 2. When thou comest to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Because this is all the part of the process of becoming the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. You know, self-mastery is a part of that discipline. And discipline is not comfortable. It's meant to be uncomfortable. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then when uncomfort start being, when being uncomfortable starts to not bother you that much, that's how you know that discipline is starting to settle in.
All right, verse 5. The wise will hear and increase their learning, and the person of understanding will acquire wise counsel and skill to steer his course wisely and lead others to the truth.
Right. See, and this is all what like I told that man too. You know, the guy that came up. You know, he telling us that he's 54. So you supposed to set an example for the youth. You know, your years on this earth supposed to be coupled with wisdom and experience that you can share to the younger generation.